Really appreciate everyone coming out this afternoon for the Rwanda Youth Nuclear Summit of 2025. Even as nuclear power is seeing a surge of popularity around the world, billions and billions of dollars of investments are being poured into nuclear startups and governments around the world. People say nuclear and Africa, same sentence. Unfortunately, you see a lot of eye rolls. There is a perception that Africa perhaps doesn't have the stability or maturity or vision for nuclear. But we're all here because we don't think that's true. We're here because we think that if there's one country in Africa that does have the vision, that does have the stability and the focus and the intellect, it's Rwanda. But that's only going to happen if we have the talent. Nuclear is something that's built entirely on the brains and the sweat and energy of those who see it become a reality. And right now, Rwanda doesn't have enough of that expertise. But the people in this room could become some of the members of the next generation, the first real generation of homegrown nuclear experts. And today we have an excellent lineup of speakers and panelists who are going to discuss their vision for a nuclear Rwanda and how all of us together can make that happen. So, first I'd like to invite to the stage Fanny, the head of the NICE Club, which is Nuclear is Clean Energy, and Francois, the head of RYGN, the Rwanda Young Generation of Nuclear. Together they are the ones that put this entire summit together, and they would like to formally welcome you.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, industry leaders, fellow students, and young innovators, good afternoon. My name is Ange Fali, pursuing my bachelor in applied physics and also the president of the NES Club Rwanda. We are honored today to welcome you to the Rwanda Youth Nuclear Summit 2025. We are here to build understanding between Rwanda's industry professionals and the young people of this country. Our task is serious. Rwanda must expand its electricity system nearly tenfold while building the industries that will use this power to grow our economy and improve our lives. For a nation with limited land and ambitious development goals, this challenge requires clear thinking and bold solutions. Nuclear technology offers Rwanda a reliable, scalable, and peaceful path forward. By harnessing this energy of uranium, we can support the healthcare, agriculture, industry, and research, and long-term national development of our country. Rwanda has the right to use nuclear science responsibly, and Rwanda has a choice to lead. Earlier this month, in the NATA 2025 here in Kigali, during the session on the youth empowerment, I asked a question that matters deeply to many of us. I asked, how can young people truly appreciate be included in decision makings on nuclear science and nuclear energy? The answer I received was simple, that youth must engage in a way that are meaningful and accessible to all. And this answer was directly to this moment. Here we are, the NES Club Rwanda. NES Club Rwanda exists to make nuclear science understandable, accurate, and open to all students from all fields. Since our founding, we have built a democratic student organization, learned together across the disciplines, and organized this summit through youth leadership. In this line, I would also like to express my profound gratitude to the government of Rwanda for creating the program of nuclear science and technology here in the University of Rwanda. This summit is a bridge between students and experts, between knowledge and opportunity, between the future we imagine and the future we want to create. As the president of the Next Club Rwanda, and as a young Rwandan who wants to ask how youth can be included, I stand here proudly knowing the answer: inclusion begins when we step forward. Dear leaders in this room, we hope that you have a good session and fellow students enjoy our summit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon once again. Can I hear the voice of the youth? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Alright, thank you so much. My name is Hilma Francois Regis, and I'm the president of Rwanda Young Generation Nuclear. Distinguished guests, partners, colleagues, and fellow young people, good afternoon and welcome. Today marks a historic moment. This is the first platform of its kind in Rwanda, created specifically to empower young people to contribute to our country's ambitious vision to pursue and responsibly harness nuclear technology for sustainable development. This summit is more than a conference. It is a signal that youth voice matter in shaping Rwanda's energy future. History shows us that nuclear technology itself has not been the main challenge. It has never been a technological issue based on the history. Rather, it's always been a communication issue or a political issue. So that's why, as young people, we are coming together to be able to make a technology a tool rather than being driven by any fears. That is why we are here today. That is why we are here today, to learn, to ask questions, to speak up. We are here to learn, to ask questions, to speak up, so that we address these communication issues and other fears that we might have around nuclear technology as young people, and then our voices matters. Rwanda Young Generation Nuclear is a youth-led non-governmental organization building knowledge, dialogue, and leadership among young people in nuclear science and policy and the technology. We believe that Rwanda's journey towards nuclear energy or nuclear technology must be inclusive, transparent, and youth-driven. We invite you to join forces with us to collaborate, to innovate, and to lead. The future of nuclear in Rwanda will not be written by technology alone, but by the people who understand it and guide it responsibly. And that's why we are here to learn, ask the questions, and make sure that you address all the questions young people would have, and make sure that you move together as the movement so that we help our country pursue this amazing technology. Once again, welcome, and I wish you a fruitful and inspiring conference. Thank you. Without further ado, allow me to welcome the team who is representing our principal for our host institution to give us a warm welcome once more.
Before I give my few remarks, I can take some minutes to brief you historical background of this nuclear science program. When the government of Rwanda took a decision to develop the nuclear energy in Rwanda, the University of Rwanda has been requested to develop or to
key factors or key factors have been commented in one workshop, and then we have been mandated to develop or to train people. You know that nuclear science or nuclear energy cannot be sustained without well-trained personnel. The University of Rwanda was not ready to start the nuclear science program. That's why the first batch of students have been sent to Russia, if I'm not mistaken. They are now studying or completing their studies in Moscow and People Friendship University of Russia. The first one and maybe the second one also. Now the program of nuclear science has been developed. That's why you are here. The nuclear science program has been developed and even have been launched. Now, coming to this summit, I would like to welcome you to this summit. First of all, it is a wonderful place where we share, of course, knowledge. We ask. When we are talking about nuclear energy, people are afraid. Even if we go outside, you say nuclear energy, people are afraid. And it is up to you to demystify. You are the first people who are going to demystify this behavior. When you say nuclear power plant, people are afraid. Because we can remember Chernobyl, we can remember Fukushima, we can remember others catastrophe that has been occurred. But as you are saying, nice. That's what the meaning nuclear is. You can complement. Now, okay, it means that it is up to you to demystify this. I would like to invite all students present here to carefully follow this summit. If there is some question to ask, if they have to comment, they can provide the comment. And our partners, I would like to assure you that the University of Rwanda is committed to work with all partners to make this nuclear science in Rwanda to be strengthened. Without taking much time, I would like to welcome you again and to wish you good deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, so we are ready to hear from the NICE Club. The Nuclear is Clean Energy. It's a student club devoted to the cause of advancing nuclear power and educating the population about the potential and the safety of nuclear power. What? The infrastructure. Okay. Oh, I apologize. I apologize, folks. I got the order of things mixed up. I would like to invite one of our keynote speakers, our actual keynote speaker, representative from the Ministry of Infrastructure, to give the official opening remarks of the summit.
I want to hear the energy now this afternoon. Good afternoon. Distinguished guests who are the youth, our partners, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Rwanda Risa, and I'm the donor coordinator specifically for energy sector and the Ministry of Infrastructure, here representing the Director General in charge of energy and the Ministry of Infrastructure. On behalf of the Ministry of Infrastructure, it's a privilege to stand before you this afternoon at the official opening of the Youth Nuclear Summit under the theme Empowering Youth to Lead Rwanda's Nuclear Future. Wow, I love the theme. This gathering presents a unique opportunity to discuss Rwanda's energy future and the strategic role nuclear energy may play in shaping it. This conversation is especially important because the choices we make today will directly affect your generation and those that follow. Let me first extend my sincere appreciation to the Rwanda Young Generation in Nuclear, the Nuclear Clean Energy Lab at the University of Rwanda Administration, and all our partners for their dedication in making this summit possible. Rwanda is a young and ambitious nation. Our Vision 2050 outlines clear economic goals to become an upper middle-income country by 2035 and a high-income nation by 2050. Energy is central to this vision. Reliable, affordable, and sustainable electricity fuels the industrial growth, innovation, and social development. To achieve these goals, Rwanda is pursuing a diversified energy mix in hydropower, solar and geothermal, methane gas, complemented by modern grid expansion, off-grid solutions, energy efficiency measures, and clean cooking initiatives. The aim is to reach our universal access to 100% by 2029. That is 5 years from now. And the government is not going to do it alone. We are going to partner with the youth. We are going to partner with our esteemed partners to make it happen. So we need a collaborated approach to make it happen. Kandi urubyiruko niho mukeneye cyane, sibyo? Distinguished participants, dear young generation here present, nuclear energy is being explored as a strategic complement to our renewables. We are prioritizing small modular reactors with initial operations targeted for 2026, testing by 2028, and a national capacity of 4.5 gigawatt by 2050. Nuclear energy provides continuous low-carbon electricity that can support industrialization, digital infrastructure, urban growth, and Rwanda's net zero 2050 climate goals. Importantly, nuclear development is not just about technology. Rwanda has established strong governance and regulatory frameworks, partnered with international institutions, and invested in human capital. Safety, transparency, and public engagement are non-negotiable priorities. This phased, careful approach ensures that nuclear energy aligns with global best practices and serves the long-term interests of our nation. As you have to note that several African nations are demonstrating strong political will and regional cooperation towards nuclear energy development with focus on market readiness and sustainable energy solutions. Countries like South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, and Ghana are leading the way, while others like Rwanda, Uganda, and Kenya are actively exploring nuclear options. This includes establishing regulatory frameworks, securing investments, and embracing technologies like small modular reactors. In terms of signals of political will and regional cooperation, there are several high-level meetings that have taken place as an opportunity for stakeholders to meet and share insights on the subject matter. The recent meeting on African Ministers of Energy and Infrastructure in Rwanda underscores the continent's commitment to nuclear energy. On international cooperation, countries are actively seeking partnerships with international organizations, forming banks and companies to leverage financing, technology transfer, and knowledge acquisition. In regard to regulatory frameworks, several countries are establishing or strengthening the nuclear regulatory bodies, a crucial step for safe and sustainable development. Dear participants, dear youth, fostering regional integration is paramount. Initiatives like African Continental Free Trade Area promote the sharing of knowledge and expertise across borders, and the adoption of SMRs by countries like Ghana, Uganda, and Rwanda reflects a trend toward more flexible and cost-effective and scalable nuclear solutions. The factor of human capital development is an enabler to the sector. Governments have to put in place training initiatives like the African Regional Cooperation Agreement for Research, Training, and the Development of Nuclear Science and Technology. That's AFRANIST. The aim is to build a skilled workforce in the nuclear science and engineering. This will bridge the gap in technical know-how for our workforce on the African continent, including Rwanda. Due to market readiness and growing energy demand, many African nations are experiencing rapid population growth and industrialization, leading to increased energy demand. There is an issue with limited conventional fuels. Some countries lack sufficient domestic conventional energy resources, making nuclear energy an attractive alternative. For the clean environment and climate change mitigation, nuclear energy can play a crucial role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating the impacts of climate change. But there is investment part also, and for the investment opportunities, the potential is around 105 billion nuclear market in Africa, and is attracting both public and private sector involvement. Apart from education, apart from knowledge sharing, but there is an aspect of doing business and creating jobs for youth like you, and this will be a key to the development of a particular sector. The role of youth and the role of young generation is very key towards nuclear energy involvement across the globe, at the continental level, and in Rwanda in particular. Across all levels, youth are the engines of knowledge, innovation, and advocacy in nuclear power development. Globally, they ensure continuity in the workforce and technological advancement. In Africa, they are catalysts for safe and strategic nuclear deployment, and in Rwanda, they are pioneers shaping country's nuclear future and contributing directly to energy security, sustainable development, and Vision 2020 ambitions. Dear participants, to this note, I call on you, the youth, to actively engage in this sector, not only as scientists and engineers, but also as policymakers, economists, communicators, environmental specialists, and regulators. The Rwanda of 2050 depends on your knowledge, vision, and leadership. Through your creativity and collaboration with government, the private sector, civil society, and government partners, we can build a resilient, sustainable, and inclusive energy system that powers our industries, homes, and aspirations. I'm also pleased to invite all you young people, the stakeholders and partners, to the upcoming Nuclear Energy Innovation Summit for Africa 2026, that is in year 2026. It's scheduled to take place here in Kigali at the Kigali Convention Center from May 18th to 21st, 2026. Just put on your coats. We need your brain at the summit and contribute a lot in terms of discussions, sharing the knowledge, and do whatever it takes to power nuclear as young men. As I conclude, energy is not just about electricity. It is about opportunity, dignity, and national sovereignty. Today, I urge everyone here to run, ask questions, innovate, and contribute, because engagement will shape Rwanda's energy future tomorrow. Thank you for your kind attention, and let's all set the nuclear mind from today. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much for those inspiring words. All right, now we have the presentation from the NICE Club. I apologize for the mix-up earlier.
Thank you so much once again. I'm back. We are going to see the presentation about the NICE Club. We are going to start by what is NICE Club, what do we do, what is our background, and what is our future expectations, where we want to be in the next time or years to come. So, next slide, please. Here I'm going to talk a little bit about the NICE Club. NICE Club was founded on 17 March 2025. We were coming from our workshop teaching about the nuclear here in the campus. It was physics department, mechanical department, and chemistry department. Then we asked ourselves if there is a need for us to come up with a club to advocate, to teach students about the nuclear, not to let them have that myth of bombs and everything. And we started it being inspired by the NICE Club of UC Berkeley. And the initiative was led by students. As you can see in the pictures, there are students, one of our lecturers, and other visitors who helped us to start it. Next slide, please. Our club is, we have like same clubs, in seven universities worldwide. There is UC Berkeley, there is Columbia University, University, UT Austin, California Polytechnic State University, the University at Buffalo, and as well as for the University of Rwanda. We are one of the club in Africa. So each club works independently from others, but we can ask for advice, we can collaborate with them if it's needed. And for us, the NICE Club, we did a strong election. We came up with a committee of 7 people. That's why I'm the president from that election. And we delivered 10 impactful sessions to the students, talking about the nuclear technologies, talking about external applications of nuclear, about the agriculture, about the medicines. And in line to our mission, we say that we want to empower Rwanda's youth in nuclear energy. And we do have some upcoming engagements where and even people from the village. Next slide. Our mission and vision of the NEST Club is pretty simple and understandable. Our mission is to educate and empower young people in Rwanda with knowledge about nuclear energy and to also promote scientific understandings and engaging of public through awareness. And our vision is to become a leading youth-driven platform here in Africa, which we are working the best to be, and to also inspire innovation, shape public perceptions, and support the national efforts in adapting in nuclear energy for sustainable development. Next slide. Here on this slide, we're introducing the NEST Club to the first year students. I was also there, the one in a red shirt. We are talking to the first year students from all over the College of Science and Technology, telling them about the nuclear and how clean and how it is our future to get the clean energy, and telling them other applications of the nuclear. And we engaged in those students saying more about the role of clean energy in our country and why it's needed, and showing them that our club is a platform of learning, innovation, and leadership development. Next slide. In the sessions, we did have a recent session with one of the founders and the global expert. He's the co-founder of the NEST Club, UC Berkeley, Brian Pickering, and it was a hybrid session, and we talked about the strategic issues, including the role of the nuclear energy as clean and reliable and scalable solution in global energy. We discussed about the triple nuclear energy pledge that our country signed and how it's a good progress for our country to be right now. And we discussed how we, the youth, are going to be a part of helping our country achieve its goals by 2050. Next slide. Next slide, please. And that's the picture of our session. We did have some people physical, others were online, and it was really very impactful for our club members. Next slide. We did also have some intra-club discussions where we take students and they present to us what they came up with about the nuclear energy and external applications. We also had a discussion, if I can call it, or we call it a debate, because people had some positions and propositions, trying to think about this topic. Is advocacy and raising awareness for nuclear energy as a clean energy what Rwanda and Africa needs now. We talked about it, everybody gave out their ideas, how they think. Is it really needed? Do we need to be doing something else, we as the students? And our conclusion was very simple. We saw that we are the ones in charge. If advocacy is going to be done, it's going to be done by the youth. We are going to start from our families to the community, going everywhere and saying about the nuclear energy and making people not fear nuclear energy, but also being proud of how the country is progressing now. Next slide. And this was our picture in a discussion. Everybody was serious in it. Next slide. We also had some experts talking to us, and this session we did it after the ASA 2025 because most of us were there. We were really inspired by what happened to the ASA, the progress of the country, and how much effort is our country really putting into this. So shortly after the ASA, we came up with some experts and tried to discuss and say about our vision of the country. And what is the actual role of us, the youth? What are we going to participate in? How are we going to achieve that? Next slide. Our biggest project right now, we are trying to do a nuclear translation guide, which is being done by the students. We are trying to take some terminologies from English to Kinyarwanda, which is really taking up some time. We do have 40 terminologies that we currently translated in our documents that we did, and we are still also working on the terminologies. And About the social medias, we do have, next slide please. We do have X, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Sorry, the next slide. Yes, we do have different social medias where we are trying to put our sessions and everything that we are currently doing, and our progress, and who visited us, and what we learned from them. Students who are followers, and also if you want to join the club, you are welcome to come. We have 50 students currently in the club, and we want to be as many as we can for the development of our country. So those who want to join us can follow us on those social medias. And after the sessions, we do have people who are wearing t-shirts of the Nice Club. If you want to join the club, you can approach any of them. And thank you so much for your time.
Before you go, actually, I was hoping, I know a lot of people here have come here because they're interested in some of the opportunities in nuclear, and particularly in the sort of opportunities that the Nice Club might represent. So I was wondering if it would be great at time if anybody had any questions about the Nice Club, about their activities, about their goals, anything like that. Now would be a great time.
First of all, as I said, Nice is a good club, but I have a question because as we are in the special plan, we are worrying about your project and other things. But about all that, as I see everybody here at the nutrient, every person understand or shall understand what we call bonds. But about that, as you talk, they use it in medicine, nuclear energy, electricity, and water. But about that, what the Nice will come out, Nice about showing us, it will maximize the benefit of nuclear to in the development of the country Rwanda, to develop the opportunity and other things that will help youth, even the country next generation, but also minimize the risk of the will cause about the land, homes, songs, and other planning activities where we are planning to live, how it will be worked in account. Even we are not in that problem, how we know that we are secure from that activity. Thank you.
So if I can summarize accurately, your question was about how we can maximize the benefits of nuclear power while minimizing the risks. Is that correct?
So about maximizing the benefits of the nuclear energy, as I said in my speech, and that's also the reality, nuclear energy is not only used to energy, like giving out electricity to the homes. We do really need that part also, but we do also need a part of getting cured from cancer, getting into agriculture, and using food irrigation. So for me, my suggestion on how to maximize the benefits of the nuclear energy is through exploring different options of what nuclear energy can actually bring to the table for the country. We need to explore different angles, see in the agriculture, see the need for me, the youth, what can we do to the future of our country, and how can we make those changes and put them into reality. The second question of minimizing the risks, I think more experts will be talking about this on the panel, but what I can say as a student like you is that if we talk about nuclear energy or even another industry of any sort of form, then they have their precautions to take. You are in the first year, right? That's what you say. But me and my class, I'm in the third year of physics, we once visited a power plant, and there were so many precautions that they needed to take in order for something to be safe. We had the same route that we are going to pass through. That route we are going to go towards the power plant and come back in the same route. So I think for me, the way to minimize these risks is taking precautions. Thank you.
My question is specifically related to the NICE club. As as you said, you are the president of Nice Club. Normally we know that vision is purpose in pictures. So my question is this one. I want to know, as a president, how do you see Nice Club in 2 years to come? Thank you.
First of all, I see Nice Club as a huge youth-led organization or a club, whatever you call it, changing the history of our country. I see the club training little students to train the nuclear science technology faculty. I see the club training the local people to not fear nuclear and see it as something they need to embrace. I see the club talking to the government officials, like leaders that we are honored to have here, and giving out our ideas of how we think this can happen. And they also see the club making history in our campus. Thank you. With the student club, we usually, like us who are talking about a new field from the, it's like a new field here in the country and as well as for the campus. Our first challenge that we face is to have something to tell students, like enough knowledge to train students and tell them about the nuclear energy. And we are requesting for the support of the government. And another pressing issue we would also face is a financial constraint. If we want to go somewhere, then we are going to, of course, face some financial constraints because we are students. And also to always have people, a support from the government, knowing they are going to help us out. That would be the great support. We know that we have somebody to go to. It will really be nice. Thank you.
Thank you. I think University of Rwanda has a big role to play here.
Yes.
There are internship programs from at Rwanda Atomic Board. There are internship programs at the Ministry of Infrastructure, and
We always have these international organizations that we partner with. So it is a role of the University of Rwanda now to map your needs and then collaborate with the ministry in charge or the agency in charge. You need these professional internships, you need the hands-on jobs, and so that you can upgrade your skills. After you get the skills, then knowing what to do, you will not fail to get financing.
Yes.
But it's a role of the University of Rwanda now to accelerate these to the agencies in charge. There are people here from those agencies.
Yes.
You better engage them for better strategies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent answers, and very excited for the future success of the Nuclear is Clean Energy Club. All right, now we have a special conversation, well, not so much a conversation, a presentation from the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Association. They're meeting in specifically to speak with us, and we should be able to see that over there in just a minute.
Distinguished national authorities of Rwanda, young leaders, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to join you today in celebrating the inauguration of Rwanda's Youth Nuclear YNS Chapter, a milestone underscoring your country's commitment to forging a vibrant nuclear future that is safe, peaceful, and sustainable. The formation of the YNS Chapter marks a significant step forward. Through it, Rwanda empowers its youth to engage directly with nuclear sciences, bringing their talent, creativity, and ambition to build on challenges spanning energy, health, agriculture, water, and the environment. Ladies and gentlemen, Rwanda is advancing an active program for peaceful uses of nuclear energy, with safety at its top priority. The country has established an independent regulatory authority to oversee radiation safety, drafted a comprehensive nuclear law, and enacted a series of regulations to prepare for the anticipated expansion of its nuclear program. Through the support of IAEA Technical Cooperation Program, Rwanda has achieved notable milestones. Water resource management, it has set up an isotope hydrology laboratory. In cancer care, it operates a therapy center that is currently being expanded. And in food security area, Rwanda has successfully developed cassava yields through innovative agricultural practices. We commend Rwanda for its progress toward establishing the Center for Nuclear Science and Technology, which will host key nuclear facilities and laboratories, including a research reactor and a cyclotron. These developments represent significant strides in leveraging nuclear science and technology to address national development priorities. Rwanda's growing interest in nuclear applications will be further strengthened by an active Youth Nuclear Chapter. By engaging young professionals in regulation, safety, project design, and research, the chapter will serve as a cornerstone for sustainable nuclear development, connecting tomorrow's leaders with today's challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, the IAEA is committed to supporting YGN chapters in Africa through training workshops, fellowships, internships, and youth involvement in technical projects. A new regional project will start in January 2026, which will support the youth in nuclear, women in nuclear, and secondary students. We trust this partnership will foster a cooperative environment for innovation, research, and safe nuclear progress. This chapter also connects Rwanda's young advocates to the global YNS network. Together across Africa and beyond, use campus resources, share experiences, and organize joint events. The ripple effect in public understanding and confidence in nuclear technologies will be profound. Youth are uniquely positioned to engage with their peers, foster nuclear literacy, and promote informed dialogue about peaceful use of nuclear science and applications. Ladies and gentlemen, by empowering youth today, Rwanda and IAEA are investing in the stewards of tomorrow, professionals who lead projects, guide nuclear regulatory frameworks, and engage communities with both competence and care. The spirit and enthusiasm you bring to YIN will shape Rwanda's trajectory in nuclear applications and its contribution to regional and global challenges. On behalf of the Department of Technical Cooperation, IAEA, I extend Rwanda's congratulations on the inauguration of Rwanda's Youth Nuclear Chapter. We look forward to a partnership that nurtures talent, inspires progress, and benefits humanity through peaceful advancement of nuclear sciences. I congratulate you on this very important milestone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are quite honored that you would speak with us today. And we very much appreciate your vote of confidence in this conference and in Rwanda's nuclear fusion. Now, we have a present panel discussion about the importance of nuclear technology for Rwanda. We're discussing the future of Rwandan energy, the role that nuclear power might be playing in the energy infrastructure of the Rwanda of tomorrow. So I'd like to invite to the stage the moderator, Francois Regis, the president of RYGN. Stefan Marksmeyer, the CEO of Atomic. Remy Wilson with Rura. Dr. Joram with Ryab. And Lincoln I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, with the Office of the Prime Minister.
Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon. All right, so give us some minutes that we can have a good panel and a good discussion. So I'm here joined and very honored to moderate this panel. Once again, I'm Hirwa Francois Regis, and I'm the president of Rwanda Young Generation in Nuclear. So it's a great honor and pleasure to have you all here to the panel. If maybe we can have 1 minute to each to introduce again yourself, a bit more about what you do and where you are connected with nuclear specifically. Thank you.
Yes, thank you again. Good afternoon. This is very impressive, I have to say, because it's something we don't get to hear about. My name is Lincoln Kawesoga. I'm a policy analyst in the Office of the Prime Minister, and I focus on mainly the economic and productive sector. So I started by saying that this is impressive because oftentimes we hear of the vision that Rwanda has, and most of the time it's a top to bottom kind of vision. And it starts with government, and it starts with His Excellency, and then eventually it goes into the population and the youth. But what I think is very impressive about this is that this is a grassroots organization. There's so much energy, so much enthusiasm, and so much knowledge, and a lot happening at this level. And it's one of the things that actually the country needs when it comes to our development. And so it's a very big pleasure and honor to be here representing our elders and our officials from the Prime Minister's Office and other organizations. And I really look forward to hearing more and seeing more of what this kind of community does and where we are going, because I can assure you that the sky's the limit. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Jerome, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Rwanda YNS25. Good afternoon. I think you can hear me better now. As I said, my name is Rwanda YNS25. I work for Rwanda Atomic Energy Board as the head of department. We have departments of nuclear technology and research and development. And as you know, RYGN is a promoter of nuclear science technology. This is our mandate, and we are very pleased to see a summit like this. I could see some of the faces that I know because we work closely with the youth. You heard about the internship that was mentioned. It is done through RYGN, and we appreciate much that you can see a big number of young people much interested in promoting nuclear science technology. I can say that you are also part of RYGN, so I congratulate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Ray Wilson Bana. I have been in this field for the past 15 years in nuclear field. I'm a regulator and a nuclear scientist working with RURA as the division manager of nuclear and radiation safety. I'm very glad to have people here who have been asking about safety issues. I'm here to tell you that don't worry about safety and security. We are there. I've been an IAEA expert in nuclear, especially in nuclear emergency preparedness and nuclear security since 2018. And I've been involved nationally in the development of the national nuclear policy and Rwanda's regulations pertaining safety, security, and safeguards. So I'm also very glad to be here and hope we are going to have a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Stefan.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Stefan. I'm from Germany. I moved here about 2 years ago, and I'm here representing the private sector We are a startup, Atomi, you can see us there. We're very glad to sponsor this event and bring all the young people into this sector. We see nuclear as a very bright future in Rwanda, and to make it happen, we need the best talent. Nuclear has always the saying of a culture of excellence, and if we can foster that here in Rwanda, then the nuclear future, the industry that I work in, that we all work in to some extent, is really in a position to help and benefit the everyday Rwandans in the villages, in the cities, with energy, with jobs, with the factories that are being powered by it, and we see our role here in really trying to bring private capital, bring private innovation into nuclear, a sector that is typically very government-led, and the government always has a very big role to play, but we also see the private sector having a role to play in nuclear.
Great. Well, as you can see, we have a group on the right. Can we give it a clap? Yeah. So then it's up to you to learn from all of these profiles that we have now. And you can see we have representatives from government as well in different capacities. Some are on part of the policy, others are on the part of the regulation, and so and so. And also we have a company, a startup company working on nuclear, so which means we have a lot of information you can get from here all around nuclear. So allow me to start with Lincoln. As the Vision 2050 that we have, why did we have to care about nuclear, and how is it being integrated in the long term? And then what are we looking forward for this technology as the government, for instance?
Thank you for the question. What I have to say about Vision 2050 is there are some important numbers that we have to think about. First of all, the energy demand for Vision 2050 will be at 4,000 megawatts, so 4 gigawatts approximately. Currently, we're in 2025, almost 2026. We are producing about 220 something megawatts. So you understand that the gap between now, where we are, and where we want to be in 2050 is about 10 to 15 times more than what we can actually produce now. And Fanny said it, we are a small country with limited capacity and all these natural resources. So we have to be more innovative, more creative, and find other means to meet that energy demand, and how to finance it as well as attain our goals within this resource constrained environment. But I don't want to necessarily focus on the constraint or the gap that we have at the moment. I think when we say that there is between 200 and 225 megawatts produced and this 4,000 megawatts that we will need, I want us as youth to think of that as an opportunity, because that's what it really is. A problem is just an opportunity. And if you solve it, you can, one, meet the needs of a lot of people. The country, the population will definitely benefit from it, but it's also great for making money, simply put. That's what the billionaires and the millionaires of this era have done, is create solutions that can meet the need of everybody, of the common man. And so from our perspective as a coordinating institution in government at the Prime Minister's office, we see that our industries, for example, many of them are manufacturing and working at about 40% of their capacity. And many of them, when you ask them why are we actually not working at 100% capacity, one of the most common answers is that we don't can have intermediary and short-term solutions, but are these solutions actually sustainable? Are we able to do our part in meeting that energy demand so that they in turn can produce, export, and create that revenue that the country needs? That's where this conversation comes in. There's a level of urgency that we need to have, level of ownership, and I want to emphasize that word ownership because it's what I see here as the biggest potential is we have ownership as the youth, and we can find amongst ourselves these solutions, the funds, and everything else that is needed to meet this demand, and it will be a huge, huge benefit for all of us as a country. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I think we now understand how young people can benefit into this. Right? So, while we are still there talking about money, talking about which things the affordability now is a case, then I'd like to go to Remy to understand, as far as you are thinking of the deregulation, then how the mechanism will ensure that it will be affordable and accessible.
Thank you very much. Actually, to ensure that the nuclear energy is affordable and accessible to our population, you really need to ensure that you establish a comprehensive policy and regulatory mechanism that will really ensure that both the operators and the end users, which are the population, none is affected among the two. And this is a long journey, but on behalf of Rwanda, if you read our motto on our website, you always find that our motto is inspiring development. Because as a regulator, you need to stand in between operators and end users. If this price is very, very low to be affordable by people, the operators will collapse. If again is too high to be the load of people, none will buy the electricity and the operator will collapse. Which means, as a regulator, we normally try our best to ensure that the implementation of our motto, inspiring development, especially in nuclear, we move together with the nuclear operators. I remember when Stefan came to see us in our offices, he had this bright idea to start a nuclear energy program. And he will give you a testimony that we had to sit down, we evaluate all the consequences and all the challenges that he encountered in various countries overseas, and he could see that when coming to Rwanda, as the regulator is not something that is separate from the government, we always move together with the government, and therefore we move together with the operators to ensure that our regulations, they reflect the reality in the country. It doesn't provide a lot of charges to the operators already to collapse in the starting point, and this will have an impact in the accessibility and affordability of the end product that they are going to produce. So, in a short, better mechanism is that the regulator works with various stakeholders, not only stakeholders, but also the operators in the development of various policies, strategies, and regulations to ensure that none is facing a huge load on his shoulders, but also our people are protected and they have the end product, which is, in our case, the nuclear power. Thank you.
All right, so when we are still there, you mentioned the key thing of as we are protected. In infrastructure-wise or utility-wise, should we be confident when we say that as far as we are in the way of having this energy being implemented by Rwanda, are we going to be ready? Are we going to be safe? Then what can we assure?
Thank you very much. Actually, it's a critical critical question because when we talk of a nuclear program, especially nuclear power plant, you should know that this technical or this technology is globally regulated. As you have seen the International Atomic Energy Agency. So it shows you that it's globally regulated because there is some risk that is huge associated to the use of technology. That's why the government of Rwanda already, they were thinking far ahead to ensure that safety comes first before even we think about operation. And how did they do it? If you read in the IAEA manual, guiding manual, it's called IAEA milestone approach. If you read this document, they give you all the critical infrastructures that the country should have in place before a nuclear power plant comes in. If you read this document, you will see that the regulatory authority normally is created in the second phase because they have 3 phases. The government of Rwanda did not even go up to that, wait up to that second phase. They have established the regulatory authority way before. Now we have been established since 2018 at Rwanda to regulate nuclear and radiation. Since then, if you go to our website, we have already published various regulations, including nuclear and radiation protection regulation. This shows that everyone operator who wants to come in the industry, already the regulator is ready. And this has a fact because we have received an IAEA evaluation mission last year to come and evaluate how ready is the regulator to regulate the nuclear power plant. And the good news is that we got already 86%, which means already we are remaining with very few key activities to implement in order to fully be at 100%, give the confidence to Rwandese that we are ready to protect you. When the technology comes in, we will be ready. And what are we missing as gaps? Because this will also help our supervisors, which is the Prime Minister's office, as well as the Ministry of Infrastructure. We are missing 2 important gaps. We are having 2 important gaps. One is about the staffing. And already, various stakeholders came into place to create this good bachelors of nuclear science and technology. We really need you. We really want you because the sector is huge and it needs manpower. So this is a critical gap that we should address in the coming time so that we make sure that now we are at a good stage. Secondly, is the stakeholders engagement. Now we are developing good strategies to ensure that our people, our various stakeholders, the parliament, the ministries, everyone is involved in this program. If we are talking about a nuclear program, everyone should come in. Otherwise, you will start hearing rumors here and there from our people. So we really have to make sure that our people, they are involved in this program. The third and last is to develop the capacity to respond in case there is any nuclear emergency. And this we have already started working on. If you have your smartphone, just go to the Twitter account of the Ministry in charge of Emergency Management. Already this week, we are training more than 45 first responders to respond to nuclear emergencies in case they come in. Wow. So this really gives you assurance that we are tirelessly working to ensure that when this nuclear power plant is there, all Rwandese, they have confidence on us, they have confidence that it is safe and it's giving, it's serving the right purpose as we are looking for. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. It's very, very, very heart-touching, and we could understand how confident we are now and the level we are on now. So before I go to Stefan, as he will talk about, again, nuclear energy, allow me to first have Ryan talking about other nuclear applications that we are pushing for, because like we might have all the conversation those technologies we're trying to push for as a country?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I think the principle is the same. We have application from nuclear reaction. As I'm talking to youth, I think most of you are students. I've seen that some might be from secondary school. You have a minimum knowledge of chemistry and physics. You know the atom contains nucleus. Inside the nucleus you have a neutron and a proton. And you have also the surrounding of nucleus, which is made of electron. That element can undertake a reaction to release some of its components. As you know, if, for example, electrons move from one level to another one, there are X-rays that are released. And once a nucleus loses a neutron or proton, it goes to excited state. From one level to another one, there are gamma rays that are released. So from the atom and the nucleus, you can have X-rays, you can have gamma rays, you can have neutrons and the protons. So those components, once sent to a medium, there is a reaction, and from that reaction, you can study it and understand what is happening within the medium. In principle, that's what we do to have different applications. From nuclear power, you have neutron bombarding a medium or bombarding like a barrier which gets hot. Like when you are cooking, there are particles that are hitting the cover or the cover of your stove, and it gets hot. So the same happens with the nuclear power. As neutrons are bombarding the medium, it gets hot and can heat water to release the vapor, and from that vapor, you turn the tube to have electricity. That's one application. Other applications are from X-rays. You go to hospital, you have imaging happening there. You have to go through X-rays when there's something wrong in your body. They send X-rays through your body, and from that penetration or X-rays, they have different interpretation using a computer to understand, to see the image of what is happening in your body. So with the nuclear reaction, you have application in the health sector for imaging, and also you can understand some diseases like cancer. As you send those particles through your body, you get images showing you where there's a cancer tumor, and from there the treatment becomes easy. So we have application for cancer diagnosis. You have also application for killing those cancer cells using radiations. As you send those particles to the body, you can kill some affected cells which are cancer disease. Also, we have application in agriculture. As you send those particles or those radiations through the soil, you can understand how the fertilizer that you are using is being used. So with that application, you have to optimize the use of your fertilizer. You can also use those radiations to change the genes of plants, to make plants that are more adaptable to the heat, to the climate change, and you can even generate more as you have changed the gene of the plant using radiations. You have also isotope hydrology. You can understand the sample of water as you send radiation through the ground. You can know the quality of your water. You can see the origin of the water. And then with that application help you to to understand or to better use the water resource that we have. We have also application in the environment. You can monitor the pollution by sending radiations. You have also applications like industry, because by sending radiation you can understand the properties of a material without destroying it. I can briefly say that we have two main projects. The one to have nuclear power, and the other project to use all those different applications in human health, in agriculture, in industry, in water, soil, and environmental protection. Briefly, that I can say, I've tried to go from the background because I'm talking to students, and I'll be the teacher. I think by going from the background, it gives you better understanding. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you for all that. So I just learned so many things, but I think that what he just communicated is that there are endless opportunities for businesses and innovation, not just in energy, but medicine, agriculture, and all these other things. So I had earlier a conversation on how important or necessary is this forum, and how important or necessary is the science and learning of this whole technology. Why do we as Rwanda need to start learning about nuclear science? But he just gave us, almost 10 applications that have the potential for amazing results. And I want to encourage us here as youth, because I know that the age that we're in, AI coming in, connectivity, the ability, for example, the Nice Club to be connected to UC Berkeley and these other partners. I want to encourage all of us to keep thinking about what you can do, whether it's business or through government or others, that can be an opportunity for you in this science.
I was about to ask about that. Mainly, to all of those applications, who are those we are now having operating? Like instead of health, instead of, which one of those we are now having? And then which one of those, as young people, should we then now, as we are studying, start to think of creativity and innovation that others living in the country need, but yet to pursue?
Thank you very much. Probably I will be the one to respond because we regulate all of those who are already in operation.
Wow.
So I want to tell you that right now we have issued more than 80 licenses, 80 licenses to various operators. So I will probably, and we conduct an inventory. Our inventory revealed that we have more than 363 operators operating radiation and nuclear technology. And what are these people? Mainly, as he mentioned, we have major partners in health. Now they are operating mainly radiation therapy, which is the cancer treatment using radiation. We have now two projects, Rwanda Military Hospital, King Faisal Hospital. They are coming up with nuclear medicine. So by the first quarter of next year, we will be having nuclear medicine already in operation for those two hospitals. We will be having more than 4 nuclear medicine already in place. In the same line, we are also licensing a cyclotron, which is a way also to generate radionuclide to be used in medicine. It's also coming up, and we hope that the same first quarter, because they are the ones that will be supplying the nuclear medicine department. So radiotherapy, nuclear medicine, and a wide range of radiation sources in various hospitals, where we have more than 100. In industry, we have various radiometric gauges. especially in the cement companies. We have Simewa, we have Prime, we have all those. They use radiation sources in order to test the density of the soil and to determine which soil is best to produce cement. So in industrial, we are having these geometric gauges. We also have them in the brewery companies that we have in Rwanda. We have other radiation sources we use in security purposes. You have seen various security scanners, cargo scanners, and others. We are having industrial radiography sources. Those are nuclear gauges that they use to test the pipes, if the pipes are really intact. So all the gas companies, they have those nuclear technology. And I want to assure you, in the same line with what he was mentioning, that all those companies, they employ external people. And this is a very critical problem, because every time our regulations say that you should have competent staff to operate these nuclear gauges. But where do they get those staff? They are not there. So that's why they always rely on international. And this, it keeps always adding on the cost of the services that is being delivered. So in a nutshell, those are the key. In the mining, I didn't talk about the mining and other areas, but in a nutshell, we have more than 363 operating radiation and nuclear gauges, as well as other nuclear technology sources. Thank you.
We've seen nuclear programs from the history and from what you have been reading, taking 20 years, 10 years to be on the ground. Then what is the hope of you having a nuclear company being ready to serve through the ambitious goal that the country has to pursue it in 5 years?
Yeah, that's, I think the crucial question around nuclear is really in the time of deployment and in the cost. We've seen in history now basically perfect safety. That's really not the issue the industry faces today. We have amazing regulators who know how to handle this technology safely. But the problem that we have faced as an industry is delivering on time and on budget. And as Remy was talking about, really there is a very special environment here. And when I actually went to Rwanda, the question that I got asked is, how do we build this by 2030? So I think the governments, especially regulators, urgency and recognizing that this is a technology that can only help people if it actually is deployed, that it doesn't take 20 years. That is, I think, a crucial part of what can make Rwanda a leader in nuclear.
If I heard you well, you say it can be deployed economically and faster, right? And then why other countries it wasn't working? Why they had, like even the US had to spend a lot of years to get a nuclear power plant on ground?
Yeah, that's a really big question. There's so many aspects to this. A lot of it is project delivery, just the organizations of that are delivering nuclear power plants just have not done this in a long time. And I mean, of course, Rwanda also has not done it, right? So there's now a recognition that nuclear projects need to be much different. Their delivery much faster, much more streamlined. And then the new thing that is really coming in that the industry has come up with is small modular reactors. And of course, we all know what small and what reactor means, but the crucial point is the modular, right? And the idea really is to take nuclear out of the construction environment and into the factory, where we can have standardized processes, standardized modules that are produced in the factory to nuclear grade standards, and then they are delivered on site, and then they are just basically just installed. You put them together next to another, you connect the flanges, connect the pipes and the cables, and you start rolling. So that is really only possible with these very small reactors. But as it happens to be, Rwanda is a very small country with a very small electricity grid. I cannot build a gigawatt power plant here. Typically, the rule in electricity planning is no single generator should be more than 10% of your entire grid. So as the Rwanda grid currently sits at 300 megawatts, that means that any reactor that is more than 30 megawatts is right now difficult to implement. Of course, the Rwanda grid will grow and is growing very fast, over 10% electricity demand growth per year. So we can see it going up to like 50 megawatts and maybe 80 megawatt units. But the really large units that the industry has traditionally built are just not feasible in Rwanda to begin with. So I think it's a perfect position for Rwanda to adopt these new technologies that are now coming out of startups around the world, and the traditional industry, and everybody kind of has recognized that this is a good idea to build nuclear in a more streamlined fashion, which allows them for quicker deployment, as you have much less site work going on, and especially for a country as Rwanda, I think it's an amazing opportunity to adapt this new technology and be one of the leaders on the continent who is the first one to bring these small modular reactors to the continent. And what we're doing at Atomi is we're really focusing on having these small reactors power the industrialization of Africa. So, as you might know, it is a bit unreliable to get electricity in not just in Rwanda. Rwanda is actually pretty good compared to its peers, but still, it is just very hard to maintain a reliable electricity grid if you have to supply millions of customers, especially in the rural areas who are often completely, they're not populated in settlements, they're dispersed throughout the fields. And you have to imagine, right, you run a 300-meter power line out to a single household, and all they consume is a light bulb and charging their phone. That is very good for that consumer to have that capability of extending the night and having access to the world. But as a utility operator, it is just horribly unprofitable. And that leads to an underinvestment in grid infrastructure, and this is what you see around the continent. There's just very unreliable power. And that is very hard if you are an industrial off-taker, because you absolutely need reliable energy. There's just the equipment that you operate just does not take gently to voltage and frequency fluctuation and outages that the standard electricity grid is able to provide. So we think that bringing these small modular reactors next to big industrial off-takers or aggregated in these industrial zones.
So that for me to know that we are together, allow me to take two questions from the audience. We have here, thank you, great. So we have here Prime Minister's office represented. We have RYGN, the promoter. We have Rwanda regulator. We have Atomi, a startup company designing and preparing to build the first nuclear power plant here in Rwanda, raised by Rwandans in Rwanda, right? So then feel free to pose a question to anyone. Yes, I can see we have a hand there. Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Esa from Biotechnology. I want to ask my question, which is, as young generation, specifically youth, what should we think about nuclear energy? And through our daily activities with creativities and innovation, like you know that we sometimes make projects. So how can us connect this nuclear science or nuclear energy to our daily projects with innovations and creativities, and how we are going to benefit from it? Yes, how we are going to benefit, regardless looking in the field of nuclear energy as major. Specifically, I want to clarify other scientific fields like biotechnology, applied physics, and other programs, how can us benefit from it through our innovations and creativities projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a second one? I have a hand here. And it's good to direct a question to anyone here. Feel free to point. If you didn't get well the names, feel free to point an organization.
Thank you. My name is Jean-Pierre Nyokwisekwa, but I am studying nuclear science and technology. And my first question goes to Rula. You have talked about the regulations rules where you said that the International Atomic Energy Agency has given you the 86% for the readiness of implementing the Rwanda Atomic Energy like power plants or others. But according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, they said that the main problem is not about the having expertise or paying much attention about the implementing the nuclear, but it's all about how to manage the waste, the nuclear waste. And I was asking you, we know that Rwanda is a small country. How will you make sure that the waste from those power plants will not be affecting our future generation? We know that those waste, they take 1,000 years to affect other generations. So how are you making sure those waste will not affect the future generation? Because they have said that the best disposal of those waste is the deep geological disposal. But according to the other sciences, they said that those deep geological disposal, they can also affect the hydrological cycle. We know we are in the region of lakes. If we choose the deep disposal of the waste, they can affect our lakes. Also for the road management, they can cause to the road mechanism as well as started at the previous year. And my second question goes to the Rwanda Atomic Energy Agency. As a student from the nuclear science and technology, sometimes we worry about the internship. We know in Rwanda we don't have much companies which are running the nuclear facilities. How are we making sure that our skills align with your strategies to implement or to achieve the vision of 2050? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for a good question. And as a student, you always think about your future. As you study, you wonder what to do with your knowledge and skills. As I said, with the application, the nuclear applications, they are used in different fields. You find this application in industry, you find them in agriculture, in the health sector, you find them even in education. As we are starting a program of nuclear science technology, of course we need people to teach, people to read those practicals. If you can master the use of ionizing radiations, I think you'll be in a good position to participate in those programs. Then you ask about innovation. How can we be innovative with in the nuclear field? We are still young, the field, but we are growing, and we are growing fast. You may ask yourself that you don't have yet appropriate lab or equipment, the equipment that should be using those innovation. But as the program has started, and the government is pushing hard to have that program successful, I think in the near future, in some years, you will have what we need for with your innovative ideas using radiations. The radiations, as I have mentioned, they are used in different aspects. Don't think about only nuclear power, because, as I said, you have different application. If you are much interested in one field, you can specialize in something using those radiations, and hopefully the equipment that you may need will be available in near future. That's what I can say. I can ensure you that the program is growing and it's growing fast, and in the near future you will be able to be innovative and to use those applications in different projects. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jerome, for that. So, because of the time, I'm going to then get to the second question, and I will keep it to that because time is really not on our side. But I'm calling you to always follow up for the information. Maybe Lincoln will tell us where, as young people, we have a platform for like being engaging in the policy being drafted or before the implementation, how the government is thinking of considering young people, all of that, and then before that, as you prepare for that question, then let's hear from Stefan and from the regulator. They mentioned about West. They mentioned about West. Jean-Pierre mentioned about West, and definitely those Wests, if they are there, I'm not yet sure because they are going to answer. Definitely is going to come from your power plant, dear Steph. And about the West, tell us about the West. And then also the regulator also tell us if the West are there, I'm not yet sure. Then how are we capable enough as a small country, you mentioned, as a small country, how are we going to do that? And you also mentioned about the disposal type, some type of disposal, waste disposal. And then they're going to affect hydrology and other mentioned. Thank you for that question, and let's get the answers for that. And yeah, I'm glad that we have about waste in this conversation.
Yeah, I think waste, nuclear waste, is one of the most misunderstood issues in nuclear. First of all, do people even know here what is nuclear waste? But typically when people talk about nuclear waste, what are they actually talking about? And it's the spent fuel element. And that's the high level waste. That's the stuff that actually is dangerous. And that is basically the metal rods with the little ceramic pellets in them. You put them in the reactor for normally like 6 years at a time, and they give out an immense amount of heat. Enough heat to like power a giant factory or a city with the steam they produce. But after that, you take it out and you put new fuel rods in. And then you need to handle these old fuel rods. And how do you do that? How do you take this thing, which, if you were to stand next to it, you would like receive a lethal amount of radiation in like less than a second. How do you make this safe? You just put it on the water. Like that was happening in nuclear power plant. If you just put like 2 meters of water between you and this like really, really dangerous thing, it's completely safe. There's actually almost no radiation that you can still measure. And we can measure like pretty fine amounts of radiation. And then after some time, it has cooled down enough that you go and you put it actually in a dry cask, which is just a concrete container. You put it in there. It's rated for at least 100 years of operation. And there's these funny videos you can look at the testing that they do with these containers. So blowing them up, putting them on train tracks and ramming a train into them and then lighting them on fire, and just like nothing happens to them. They are some of the most robust pieces of equipment in the world. And that has actually been a very successful process that we've had over 60 years of civil nuclear energy production in the world. not a single incident has occurred with this civil nuclear waste. Nobody, no animal, no human, nobody has even been harmed by nuclear waste. So we are very, very effective at handling it. Nonetheless, it is definitely a public communication challenge. People just, they don't like it. I think especially they don't like the time frames involved, because a lot of the talkers about these like long-lived actinides and stuff that create uranium gets bombarded with neutrons, but it doesn't fission, produces these very long-lived radioactive isotopes. And there you're talking about sometimes like 200,000 years for them to decay. And that's a timeline that scares people. What you're not being told is that for it to actually harm anyone, it has to get inside you. So there has to be a pathway of actually this dangerous thing to interact with human biology in a way where it can harm you. And that is something that is actually, like, it's not easy to imagine how that might feasibly happen. Because especially these long-lived isotopes, they're all alpha emitters. The only way for them to harm you is they go inside your body. They can't harm you from outside. So after about 500 years, the only way for you to receive a high enough dose of radiation for it to be harmful for you is what you would have to do. You'd have to take those old pellets, you would have to break open this container, you have to deliberately destroy the fuel elements, take these pellets, grind them into a fine powder, and then swallow them. That's the only way for you to really get harmed by nuclear waste after 500 years. But we still, as an industry, take responsibility very seriously of this, handling this issue for all eternity. And that's where these deep geological repositories come in. And there's always a question around water. But I think what we really feel really comfortable with putting it in a geological repository is knowing, even if there's water present, we know the geology. Geology is something that's stable over tens or hundreds of millions of years. We can predict geology very well. And the type of rock formations that we put this waste in is actually something where even if water is present, it takes 3 million years to move a single meter. And there's like kilometers or like at least hundreds of meters of rock material. So you're talking hundreds of millions of years for anything to that could even pick up and transport these radionuclides to actually be able to move through that. So that's why TGRs are so incredibly safe. Nonetheless, one thing that we want to do at Atomi is recycling. One of the interesting facts about the spent fuel is that it's actually not spent. It's only about 5% used. 95% of the energy is still in there. And with recycling, you can actually create new fuel out of the old fuel. And the physics of that I shouldn't go into, but yeah, it's actually a process that I think is particularly attractive for countries in Africa, because the traditional fuel supply chain is one way you take uranium, you mine it, and then you enrich it, because the good isotope that you want is uranium-235, and it's only 0.7% of naturally occurring uranium. So you want to increase that to 5%, and that's a technology called enrichment, and that's a control technology, because you can use this technology to also enrich it up all the way to close to 100%, and that would then be what's called weapons-grade uranium. And since nobody wants to have this technology of enrichment going around for everybody to use, there's a strong pressure for African countries to not have enrichment technology. But that means that you don't have control over your fuel cycle. You're not able to produce the fuel for these power plants yourself if you're just relying on a traditional fuel cycle. So actually using recycling to produce new fuel, I think is a process that will see much adoption in Africa specifically, because of the geopolitical independence that it allows. It allows you to have this value creation of the fuel locally, and that eliminates really the issue of storing these long-lived actinides, because you're actually using them the next time you put it in the reactor.
Wow, thank you so much. I think we have a lot. We should give it a round of applause. We went through the physics, we went through the nuclear. We had a lot from you, Stefan. Thank you for that. Yeah, let's have a quick question from you then to.
Thank you very much. To me, it's only 1 minute. The good thing you asked about waste management question, and I'm glad to tell you that I came with one of the waste management experts. Irene, can you show my hand? So, she's our staff. She graduated from Russia. She's an expert interested in waste management, and she's really doing a great work, working on a strategy for waste management. Because our current regulations, they actually strict any management of waste in the country. So anything that comes in Rwanda has to go back. So we don't manage any waste currently. But soon, we are going to produce spent fuel as well as radioactive waste through those technologies we have highlighted. That's why now we are changing our law, but again, it's going in line with the strategy that the team is working on. So all the techniques Stefan has been highlighting, all they are included in this strategy. And once this strategy is approved, because it has to go through our line ministry, the Ministry of Infrastructure, and it will be presented at higher level to be approved. And once it's approved, it will ensure that we really manage our radioactive waste as well as spent fuel in an international recognized standard way that really ensures safe and security, because at the regulatory authority we also include security part, because even this spent fuel can be stolen. So that's why we include even security. So in a safe, security way to ensure really international standards are observed. So I will just tell you that please relax. Experts are working on. We have really expert team, a good expert team. We have another staff graduated from France, especially specifically in waste management. So they are really working on to ensure that this strategy is approved and we implement to be on the safe side. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the time is not on my side. That's why I want to hear from you, Lincoln, regarding the question I asked about how young people are being considered into policy making. And we have such a strategy, we have such a country's ambitious target. But I remember also soon we have signed the movement of tripling nuclear by 2050, and all of those ambitions, all of those goals, how then are we making the straightforward policies to get to those goals, and then how are you thinking of including young people? And then from you, I will then hear from Dr. Jerome from RYGN to talk about how they are including young people into promotion, and then that's how we end our plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question, and this is really great input, so thank you, Stefan, and all of you. I want to emphasize that when it comes to making policies, creating policies that are actually effective, one of the questions that we ask is, we ask the institutions such as RYGN is, did you engage stakeholders in the creation of this strategy? Because you cannot create a policy that is supposed to benefit the population, create jobs and everything like that without having consulted the people who are working in it and who will be affected by it and who know more about it than the politicians who are moving the policy. So you're asking the right question. Now the answer to that, there is, I think, maybe three ways that we can approach that dialogue. The first part is, I want to encourage, I don't know how much you work with RYGN and UNEFA, but I want to encourage that we create a forum. The second one is, I know you probably know this already, but when you have an idea, you don't feel like you're being listened to, you feel like there's some constraints in the communication, you can always actually directly email the Prime Minister, or you can reach out on Twitter. because we check these things sometimes, most of the times actually, and sometimes you hear our leaders say, oh, what happened to this person who was raising the issue around flooding? And so they listen and they care if you're able to use the medium of things, and one of those is social media. But the other way is through informal communication. Stefan and I have had coffee since we've met. We've had opportunities to interact and to see where I can assist in informing others in the sector. Of course, it's not always perfect. Time and all those things are constrained. But I want to guarantee you that if we can create that capacity to communicate, then we will be able to listen and take the inputs that are so valuable that we have to communicate. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. I thought young people, you have more that you should have given it a clap, please. I mean, you can be the Prime Minister. You can raise up your concern anytime, anyhow you wish properly. So that's a good thing for the government to thank you for that. And yeah, yes.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak again. I think the asked question is somehow related to the previous question. A student asked about the internship that is provided to youngsters from the nuclear science technology background. What I can assure you that the nuclear program is not something that is happening by accident or by mistake. It's something that has been planned since a long time ago. Maybe speaking a bit about the historical background, I think in 2015 there was a National Institutional Forum that looked at achievements and the gap with the Vision 2020, and from there they have started consultation for Vision 2050. And with that consultation, different sectors in the Rwandan community were consulted, including the youth. They have looked at different aspects and they have resolved to develop nuclear power program. And all those issues led to the employment, led to those applications have been examined carefully. I just want to say it because you have to be assured that this program is something that has been carefully planned and there is a good future for it. So why internship? Once you have a strong background in nuclear technology, you have to go to the field to understand the realities on the ground. Because people are there, they don't know as you know. They are used to old applications, they are a bit informed about nuclear science technology. And maybe also you don't understand where their application, the old applications they are using. So you have to go to the ground, understand all those applications, balance the benefits, which one is better. Can I use nuclear application? Can I use old applications? So once you have those knowledge, then you are deliberate, you are resolve, you'll be able to resolve, and you'll be able to convince people that you have better applications that can be more successful. So you have to understand the reality of the ground. You have to come with those innovations because you are young, you know much. So you have to come with those ideas and contribute in developing this program. I can say that without your active participation, we won't achieve the success in the development of this program. So as young people, you have to be confident, you have to be active. Even if the plan has been made a long time ago, the success depends on the youth. Because the Vision 2050 is, we still have many years ahead. Maybe some people won't be there, but many of you will be still active. So your participation is very important. You have to be confident and have to study the science technology with hope that there is a good future for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I need to get the final thoughts as well from Rura as they conclude, and then from Stefan as we conclude the panel. 1 minute, 5 minutes each. Then to Stefan, because there is one question I didn't talk about, but maybe the second one will talk about it. But if you can touch on it, on specifically what the atomy is going to do, and also if do we need a nuclear weapon to be fit into this. So Rura and then Stefan as well. Thank you.
Thank you. To conclude, my meeting will only be 1 minute. We are very glad and we really thank the government of Rwanda to embrace the nuclear technology. The future is really guaranteed. We are going to really enjoy the science and technology, and in this long journey we should move together. The education people, stakeholders, politicians, our people, we should all move together. If one is left behind, then the use of the technology will be obsolete. The University of Rwanda, please invite us. We will be glad to come. Bring on your students. Let them visit our offices. We will really show them what we do. We will come to tell you what we do. And this will give a sharp future to the students to really understand the trends of the technology and to ensure that at least they are motivated to really learn, have skills, and come to serve. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there is so many job opportunities in nuclear, and yeah, we have the panel coming up on the opportunities there, but long story short, most people who work in nuclear did not study nuclear engineering. If you go into a nuclear power plant in the United States, there's about 900 people working there per reactor, and about 100 of them are nuclear engineers. The rest is, your electrical engineers or just normal machine shop workers, a lot of security staff as well, maintenance workers, and a lot of just regulatory compliance, where it's just like you have people sitting there to make sure that the protocol is followed. And it is very important in nuclear. But you don't need to be a nuclear engineer for that. There's many other pathways where you can find your job, your journey into the nuclear industry. There's public communications, a huge challenge for nuclear. So I'd like to see more communications people taking interest in the technology. And yeah, there's just massive opportunities across the world, but also, of course, here in Rwanda, as the program starts to expand, we'll meet so many young, ambitious people that, crucially, I think, coming back to it, embrace this culture of excellence. If you think you're like a person that's capable of working and executing to that degree that nuclear requires, then yeah, make it your destiny. And for sure, there's opportunities available. At Atomy, of course, we hope to hire many Rwandans for all these different types of roles. Yeah, we see a lot of opportunity for young people to take up this as their profession.
All right, with me, everyone's going to say nuclear power. 1, 2, 3. Nuclear power. All right, guys. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to plow through this. We're going to switch up the schedule a little bit. We're going to get the second panel in next. And it's going to be a faster panel. I've been assured by the moderator and the panelists will have one solid answer per panelist, because I know that this is important, right? Careers in nuclear energy. This is one of the reasons you're all here. So we are going to have that panel. We're going to have one solid, good answer per panelist to try to get ourselves back up on time. Then we're going to close out with a brief talk by Stefan, the CEO of Atomy, go a little more detail there, and then the closing session entirely, and then the coffee and snacks. Sound good? Alrighty, fantastic. Can I please get our second panelist up here? Our moderator, Sam Rotunda. Yeah, give him a round of applause. Dr. Joseph from the University of Rwanda. Josu from RYGN, and Julius, PhD student at Harvard.
For the whole nuclear infrastructure personnel, which involves the NPO, the implementing organization of the nuclear program, which is RYGN, and the regulator and other stakeholders, even the operator, which is not yet established, but who soon will. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for the intro. Now, quickly to Dr. Joseph, over to you. First of all, huge thanks to the new tech science of technology we have, the department with really taking the lead in terms of building capacity for young students. And now the question we all ask, also asking apart from the students is, how is this program equipping them with practical and those skills that goes beyond theory to be able to help them build the workforce that we're trying to build here in Rwanda when it comes to nuclear energy?
Thank you very much. So his English is too quick, but best when responding to go slow. So you asked the question, the bachelor in business technology, it was launched actually recently, and when it was during the institution process, I was the head of the Department of Physics, and later I had to be moved to the current position of competition and management. The program is mainly divided into two parts. The first 2 years it's the typical physics that Dr. Jerome referred to. We train students with the physics and chemistry, mathematics, and also electronics, because to be able to fix all the design or manufacture detectors, nuclear detectors, you really need enough of electronics.
Thank you. I think the most important thing here to underline, as also we are in an academic institution, is to understand that we have first to build our capacities and many people. The amount of money will depend on many factors, but money will come if we have something to offer. And if I may talk about a little bit about the pathways you mentioned. At RYGN, we are managing a few of government scholarships in nuclear. We have now bilateral agreements with a few countries, namely we have Russia, Hungary, South Korea, and maybe in the future even more. And we complement that with internships.
The time I went to do my master's abroad at Oxford, it was not basically because I wanted to go to the UK or outside Rwanda. That time there wasn't actually specific program regarding nuclear in Rwanda. And if you are smart or kind of proactive, and what is people proactive, I mean thinking ahead than kind of being reactive where you react to the challenge that is there, that means you see that as an opportunity regardless of what sector or position or seat and chair you're in. If you're a student here, if I was in undergrad, let's say first year, second year, first thing would be like, I would be like, where I want to go in this sense, it would be either master's or a job in a rare or a job at rural. And Remy and the team, all of them have clarified really what they need for the people who are working in the industry. One is skills, passion, and understanding that this is a national kind of program. So in that regard, you make sure you're the best student in whatever class you're in, whatever you're doing, you're doing your research, you're ensuring your GPA is good. And then with that kind of basic fundamental kind of enablers that you have in your CV, either you apply for a program abroad that I applied, like the one I applied to, you will get it. Whether you apply for a job, they're looking for excellent people. We have very many people with certificates and degrees, but we still have crisis of skills. When investors come here, or people like Tommy, my friend Stefan, they're struggling. I've been working with Stefan for over now 2 years since we met in Berlin and he joined me when we came here. The crisis and the challenge we're facing with Tommy is there's no one who can work, who can deliver quality product. People, like you find someone with a percentage of 80% in their brains, you speak to them, they can't have a conversation. And let me tell you something with a brutal truth. Outside this school and when you go to the real world, soft skills are very, very important. So work on your writing skills, work on your language, work on kind of your social emotional skills, and then kind of course, keep your excellence in terms of whichever field you're doing. Make sure you're number one. If you're not number one, make sure you're number one. Thank you.
Wow. Yes.
I hope you guys are taking notes. Jose, over to you. You just explain the skills that students nowadays need, now specifically for RYGN, when it comes to careers in RYGN, what are the skills that you're looking for, what are the necessary backgrounds you're looking for, just people to be able to come and join you guys.
Thank you. As Rwanda is embarking on this nuclear program, and with more focus on the nuclear power production based on SMRs, small modular reactors, we all understand that the competent workforce is central to the successful implementation of the program. And you might be surprised, like Stefan said, the workforce to run a nuclear power plant. For example, looking at the conventional nuclear power plants, as the SMRs have no experience yet, the nuclear specialists make a very portion or percentage of the whole nuclear or the workforce for the power plant. And that's why, as relevant and critical, we need the foundational nuclear expertise as a country to understand the basics of this nuclear physics and safety, safeguards, radiation protection. We also need to nuclearize other skills and knowledge which are locally produced here. Like, for example, you mentioned the electrical, mechanical, and of course they will need to have other advanced trainings to customize their experience and knowledge in those areas to complexities and other considerations for the nuclear. And I must say that the nuclear sector or industry is a cross-cutting industry, and I must say each one can find, many profiles are needed, and I think that will answer your question.
But yeah, everybody around the world knew that there's a new energy that has immense potential. So governments around the world, of course, superpowers mostly, started to really investigate this for civil purposes. And quite quickly they started producing some small reactors, some small test stands, and then really the Navy programs were the first ones where they built these submarines. And that was basically by the mid-50s. So just 10 years after the war, they went from basically no civil industry at all to having actual power-producing reactors, which is much more difficult than the reactors that they used during the war. Because there you don't have to go to high temperatures. It's achieving these high temperatures that causes all the material science challenges that actually makes it somewhat difficult. So then, after this basic capability demonstration, we saw private industry get involved. Actually, my favorite nuclear power plant is Yankee Road, which was the first commercial nuclear power plant built. It was a relatively small, 160 megawatts, compared to the gigawatt that we have today. And it was really, I think, it's a lesson for us today, because this power plant, the very first commercial nuclear power plant was built in about 3 years for a cost that is, if you adjust it for inflation, still lower than anything we are building today. So even the most successful builds right now, which is the Chinese, who are building massive amounts of these gigawatt scale reactors, even the small reactor they built in starting in 1957, came into operation in 1960, that was more economical and faster than anything we have today. So that tells you something about the nature of the technology, about the complexity that is involved. if you streamline nuclear, you can actually see these programs from the ground up that you've never done before, start to see some really, really impressive results that can contribute a lot to the economy. So then, 60s was really the heyday of nuclear. In the 60s, we had the cost of nuclear and the construction time going way down, the capacities went up, and then by the end of the 1960s, we really had nuclear as probably the cheapest source of energy that humanity has ever invented. Like, to this day, nobody has come up with a cheaper way of making reliable energy anywhere in the world than the 1960s nuclear power plants. So everybody wanted a piece of the pie, and that was then used to negotiate a treaty which really the foundation of nuclear as we have it today, as it is globalized industry, as a non-proliferation treaty. And the basic deal is that you sign away your sovereign right to develop your nuclear weapons. Say, hey, I'm not going to develop any nuclear weapons, but in exchange, you get civil nuclear technology. I actually want to read you the passage from that because I find it very interesting. It's Article 4 of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. There's nothing in this treaty shall be interpreted as affecting the inalienable right of all parties to the treaty to develop research, production, and use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. That is some very strong language for an international treaty. If you notice, they're typically very careful with their words. An inalienable right, that is, that's about as clear as you can get. So Rwanda definitely has the right to develop all this nuclear technology as it sees fit, as long as it complies with not building a nuclear weapon. And nobody here wants to build a nuclear weapon, so we're good. Unfortunately, right after signing this treaty and the rest of the world really having this, for the first time, this technology access, right, that was created under this framework, we saw the age of anti-nuclearism and really the politics of nuclear started turning. We saw billions of dollars spent by NGOs on lobbying against nuclear power. We saw governments really starting to feel the pressure from public opposition. And yeah, I think most telling is my story from Germany, where we actually had a very good industry from the engineering industry. We're developing these plans and we're getting really good, right? The Germans are famous for the engineering. So we figured out the engineering, but we didn't figure out the public communications, we didn't figure out the politics. And unfortunately that led to the formation of the Green Party, whose basically sole purpose is to destroy nuclear power. And they did it. They were able to convince it and entrench themselves so much in the political process that they were able to shut down all of Germany's nuclear power plants, which contributed at its maximum about 35% of electricity production in Germany. So we actually shut them down only a couple of years ago. But we shut them down the last ones in the middle of the worst energy crisis we've seen since the 1970s oil crisis. Like, that's insane. And they were actually the best performing nuclear power plants on the planet. No power plants around the world had like better operational factors, more efficient operations, higher safety than the German nuclear power plants. And they were shut down for purely political reasons. So that is the most extreme example, I think, of that process. But it was really global. To be honest, we collectively as a society, we just got scared. And it's been a long 50 years for the nuclear industry. But that time is over. I can say confidently. Over the last 5 years, we've seen an immense shift in public perceptions and government towards nuclear energy. And now we've seen so many governments really scrambling to get this industry back on track and get it to contribute, especially in light of climate change, towards the energy production on this globalized economy. And so, it is no longer a question if nuclear is a part of the energy mix of the future. The question is, who will move fast enough to take the lead? And I believe the answer to that question for the continent of Africa to be Rwanda. I think Rwanda can take the lead. I think it has all the institutional requirements, it has the right politics, and crucially, it has an immense need for this type of energy. Rwanda, as we all know, is a very small, densely populated, landlocked. There's no rail access, there's no way to bring coal into this country. The only way to provide reliable energy at the scale needed towards real industrialization is through nuclear power, and the government has recognized this. So that's why we are glad to be here, seeing all these young people who are also interested in the opportunities that we see. And yeah, we were glad to sponsor this event, and for our gracious hosts at the University of Rwanda, for Nice Club, for RYGN. And we would love to see you get engaged with these organizations. Get engaged with us. We're always open for internships for people. And yeah, really consider, follow what I did and get obsessed. That's really the only way I can describe it. I got obsessed with it. Yeah, I didn't actually study it. I studied public utilities engineering, but I just got so obsessed with knowing every single thing there is to know, from the particle physics involved all the way up to the regulation, to the public policy, to the economics, the history, and I've made my passion to see this technology contribute to the world in a more productive manner. So yeah, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the coffee and the snacks.
All right, thank you so much. And our gracious hosts, the University of Rwanda, are going to close us out at the very end, please.
Thank you, moderator, for MC. I think I'm standing here to give you a coffee. So I hope I'm not sure. On behalf of the principal of the College of Science and Technology, Professor Nasi, we thank you for showing up and participating into this Youth Summit. We thank Atomic, we thank the NICE Students Club, we thank also